a city whose name echoes across history, synonymous with ambition, power, and grandeur. From a humble settlement along the Tiber River to an empire that stretched across continents, Rome's story is a tale of extraordinary achievement, political intrigue, and the fragile nature of human civilizations. For over a millennium, Rome dominated the known world. Its armies conquered distant lands, its laws shaped societies, and its culture inspired generations. Yet, even this mighty empire, revered for its strength and sophistication, could not withstand the forces of time, corruption, and human folly. Today on Ancient Echoes, we delve deep into the shocking rise and fall of the Roman Empire, a civilization whose story is as captivating as it is cautionary. From legendary beginnings to imperial glory, and ultimately to its dramatic collapse, we explore the events, people, and decisions that shaped one of history's most remarkable empires. Before we journey into the heart of Rome, subscribe to Ancient Echoes and click the bell icon. History is not just the story of the past, it is the story of who we are. The story of Rome begins in the realm of myth and legend. According to Roman tradition, the city was founded in 753 BCE by twin brothers Romulus and Remus, abandoned as infants and left to die along the banks of the Tiber River. Miraculously, they were saved and nurtured by a she-wolf, a symbol that would become inseparable from Rome's identity. As the twins grew, they became leaders of a small band of settlers. Yet, ambition and rivalry culminated in a tragic act. Romulus killed Remus in a dispute over the city's founding. Romulus became Rome's first king, and the city began its journey toward greatness. While myth serves to inspire, early Rome was also shaped by geography and culture. The Tiber River provided fertile lands and access to trade routes. The surrounding hills offered natural defenses against invaders. Early Rome was influenced heavily by its neighbors, particularly the Etruscans to the north, who introduced urban planning, sophisticated engineering, religious practices, and political structures. Rome's first kings, a line of 7 in total, established institutions that would endure for centuries. Numa Pompilius, for instance, created religious rites and civic festivals that bonded citizens. Servius Tullius reformed social classes and introduced census systems, ensuring a more structured society. However, monarchy was never fully accepted by all. By 509 BCE, resentment against the last king, Tarquin the Proud, led to revolt. The monarchy was overthrown, and Rome embraced a new form of government, the Republic. The Roman Republic, established in 509 BCE, was a revolutionary system. Power was shared among elected officials. 2 consuls held executive authority, the Senate advised on laws and policy, and tribunes represented the common people. This complex balance of power aimed to prevent the rise of another tyrant. Rome's military organization became a cornerstone of its power. The legion, composed of heavily disciplined infantry units, allowed Rome to project force across the Italian peninsula. Rome expanded steadily, conquering the Latins, Etruscans, and Samnites. Each conquest brought wealth, manpower, and new allies. Rome's ambition soon drew it into conflict with Carthage, the dominant naval power of the Western Mediterranean. The Punic Wars 264–146 BCE would test Rome's resilience. The First Punic War began over control of Sicily, with Rome building a navy to challenge Carthage's formidable fleet. Victory established Rome as a dominant Mediterranean power. The Second Punic War brought Hannibal Barca, Carthage's brilliant general, who marched across the Alps with elephants, stunning Rome in battles such as Trivia, Lake Trasimene, and Cannae. Yet, Rome refused to surrender. Through strategic patience, the Republic rebuilt its forces and struck Carthage in North Africa under Scipio Africanus, defeating Hannibal at the Battle of Zama in 202 BCE. The Third Punic War ended in 146 BCE with the complete destruction of Carthage. Rome's supremacy was uncontested in the western Mediterranean, and its influence began to spread eastward into Greece and the Hellenistic kingdoms, absorbing culture, philosophy, art, and governance systems that would become central to Roman identity. The Republic's expansion came with challenges: civil wars, political rivalries, and social unrest. Into this chaos stepped Julius Caesar, a military genius whose campaigns in Gaul elevated him to power. His crossing of the Rubicon in 49 BCE was a declaration of civil war. Caesar's victory concentrated power in his hands, but his assassination in 44 BCE reminded Rome of the Republic's fragility. From the chaos arose Augustus, Rome's first emperor, in 27 BCE. He ushered in the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and unprecedented prosperity that would last 2 centuries. Under Augustus, Rome's borders were secured, infrastructure flourished, and the arts and sciences thrived. Aqueducts carried water to cities, roads linked distant provinces, and monumental architecture symbolized imperial authority. Rome's population grew, markets thrived, and culture blossomed. Literature, philosophy, and science flourished as Greek influences were blended with Roman innovations. Economic expansion connected Rome to distant regions, from Britain to Egypt and Mesopotamia. For centuries, the empire projected power, stability, and sophistication, a golden age unmatched in the ancient world. Even the mightiest of civilizations are not immune to internal decay. After centuries of conquest and prosperity, the Roman Empire began to face challenges that would slowly erode its strength. The decline of Rome was neither sudden nor simple. It was a complex interplay of political instability, economic troubles, military overreach, and social upheaval. Political corruption became rampant as emperors wielded unchecked power. The Julio-Claudian dynasty, though initially strong under Augustus, saw emperors whose incompetence or cruelty destabilize the empire. Caligula, infamous for his extravagance and cruelty, drained the treasury. Nero, remembered both for artistic ambitions and tyrannical rule, faced revolts and ultimately took his own life in 68 CE. This period of chaos culminated in the Year of the Four Emperors, where Rome witnessed rapid succession of rulers and civil war. As emperors grew weaker or absent, the Senate and provincial governors often acted independently, further fragmenting authority. Bribery, political assassination, and palace intrigue became commonplace. The moral fabric of the elite was in decline, with the pursuit of personal wealth often taking precedence over duty to the state. Rome's economy, once fueled by conquest and trade, began to falter. Over-reliance on slave labor stifled innovation, while continuous warfare drained resources. Inflation, debasement of currency, and heavy taxation created hardship among farmers and common citizens. Trade disruptions from piracy and border instability weakened economic cohesion. The disparity between the rich and poor widened, fomenting social unrest. Meanwhile, Rome's military, once its greatest strength, became overextended. Soldiers were needed on multiple fronts, from Britain's foggy isles to the deserts of Egypt. Recruiting difficulties and reliance on mercenaries weakened loyalty and discipline. External pressures mounted as Germanic tribes, Parthians, and other groups pressed Rome's frontiers. In response, Emperor Diocletian, ruling in the late 3rd century CE, implemented radical reforms. He divided the empire into eastern and western halves, introducing the Tetrarchy, where 2 senior emperors, Augusti, and 2 junior emperors, Caesars, governed. While intended to strengthen control, this division sowed seeds of rivalry, and the 2 halves began to drift apart politically and culturally. Christianity, once a persecuted sect, spread across the empire during this period. While it offered spiritual unity for many, it also transformed Roman culture, challenging traditional civic rituals and shifting loyalties from the state to a universal church. Some historians argue that the changing religious landscape subtly altered societal cohesion, though others see it as a stabilizing force amidst decline. By the 4th century CE, the empire faced mounting pressures on every front. Corruption in government, inflation, overextension of military forces, and social unrest created a perfect storm. The West struggled to maintain cohesion, while the East, centered in Constantinople, managed to survive and even thrive for centuries to come. Rome's decline was marked by symbolic events that shocked the world. The Visigoths, under Alaric, sacked Rome in 410 CE, a city that had stood unconquered for over 1,000 years. A generation later, in 455 CE, the Vandals invaded, looting and destroying cultural treasures. These invasions were not mere military setbacks, they were psychological blows to a civilization that had long considered itself invincible. The fall of Rome was not the result of a single battle or catastrophe, but a slow unraveling. By the mid-5th century CE, the Western Roman Empire had lost control over much of its territory. Political authority in the West had weakened to the point that emperors became mere figureheads, often installed and removed by military generals. In 476 CE, the final blow came when Romulus Augustus, the last Western Roman emperor, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. Rome itself was no longer the heart of power, it had become a relic of former glory. The Eastern Roman Empire, known later as the Byzantine Empire, continued for nearly 1,000 more years, with Constantinople as its vibrant capital, preserving Roman law, culture, and administration. The fall of the Western Roman Empire reshaped Europe. Germanic kingdoms arose in former Roman territories, the Visigoths in Spain, Ostrogoths in Italy, Franks in Gaul. Urban life declined, trade networks fragmented, and centuries of Roman civic order gave way to localized feudal systems. Yet, even in collapse, Rome's influence endured. Its roads, aqueducts, legal codes, and cultural ideals left indelible marks on the medieval and modern world. Rome's fall was gradual, driven by internal decay and external invasions. The Western Empire's collapse contrasted with the survival of the East. New European political and cultural landscapes emerged from the remnants of Rome. Although the Western Roman Empire fell, Rome's legacy lived on. Roman law became the foundation of European legal systems. Latin, the language of Rome, evolved into the Romance languages, Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian, and influenced modern English. Roman engineering feats, from aqueducts to roads, inspired centuries of construction. Politically, Rome's systems of governance, republican ideals, and concepts of citizenship shaped European political thought. Culturally, art, literature, philosophy, and religion continued to bear Roman influence. Even Christianity, which had risen within the empire, became a dominant force in shaping Western civilization. Rome's story teaches us enduring lessons about ambition, power, and human society. It demonstrates the fragility of even the most dominant civilizations when corruption, overreach, and internal decay combine. And yet, it also reminds us that culture, law, and knowledge can outlast empires, echoing through history long after walls crumble and armies disperse. The story of Rome is timeless. From myth and monarchy, through republic and empire, to decline and fall, Rome's history is a mirror of human aspiration and vulnerability. Its rise inspired awe, and its fall warned generations about the impermanence of power. Thank you for joining us on Ancient Echoes. If you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which moment in Rome's history struck you the most? Remember, history is more than the past, it is the story of who we are, and the echoes of Rome will continue to shape our world forever.